With the sketch, I can see where I began at first to put the roof of the house actually quite high in the oil sketch, which was the opposite of what I really intended to do. Putting it where it is indicates that the subject of the house has become a focal point in itself. The challenge of doing a painting like this is to avoid saying to yourself, how did this bit go, and how do I make this look like that? The thing that you're trying to achieve here is a painting that works for itself and in itself. The interesting fact here is that as soon as you move away from trying to remember items and placements and angles and sizes and all that, as soon as you move away from it, you begin to access a lot more memory that's of a different sort. It doesn't preclude including detail from elsewhere, from similar experiences from your past, and it all becomes part of the same painting. And it's that can develop into a painting that's far more successful and profound than simply recording what you were seeing on a particular day or time. The painting will lead you, and you have got to follow. I'm more and more convinced that the real memories of what you have seen are taking a greater and greater part in the process of developing the painting at this stage. The things that we remember are not organized, they're fragmented, and it's some of those that you are including in the painting. It's a kind of memory perhaps that we take with us further into the future. It becomes almost like a kind of a mythology, and details and precision are not really as significant as they would have seemed to be in the first place. But it's exciting when it starts to develop on the canvas in front of you. You are remembering in paint, and it's the paint that offers you these memories, and to some degree you have to take the risk of allowing it to do that and not to steer it any more than you absolutely have to do. As it developed, I brought the height of the roof down. As I'm now looking at it, the height of the roof will come down further still, possibly. But this stage is where I'm trying to develop the painting, where it's the composition and the tone and the dynamics that are the really important things. The more you can forget the subject, the better. And it's becoming less and less a record of what you initially saw. However, my interaction with the original sketch will make it take on more of a memory of the actual place. Memory doesn't operate at all like a camera, and there's no real sense in which we see a scene as a composed collection of carefully identified and placed items. We don't count legs of cattle that we see. It's more fragmented and confused, really. But once you're working, all those memories can be brought together and develop under their own steam. My original feeling of having made a wrong decision about the placement of the roofs of houses, in effect, on the canvas, which left me this really interesting area that I felt was really kind of going to be crucial, too small. Now comes into play really the fact that I'm working on scrap canvas, and I'm simply working within a preconceived rectangle which doesn't need to restrict me. So I can now go say, well, I do want more sky. This tree here, I would have preferred it to have sort of gone up further. It's got some interesting sort of possibilities there that I would lose. This is folded over at the back there a little way, so I can go sort of a bit higher there and get away with it. Immediately I feel that that's a bit stronger idea than the way things were going at first. as you can see, I'm using Payne's grey and burnt umber, so the grey gives me a little bit to work with as a sort of sky idea, and I'm feeling a lot happier with that. The composition feels a lot better like that. Just on the memory business, until I started painting, there was a scribbly area on my drawing which I realised I largely ignored when I started to put the paint on. But in fact, not only does it work for the composition, but it actually contributes to the atmosphere of the place itself, and so I put that in this stage, and it will develop in due course. As you can see, I lowered this roof, which means that probably this area here will have to change a little bit too. So you do always have to be careful about thinking you've made a mistake and try and put it right. The best way is always to give the mistake a bit of time, because the mistake can sometimes turn out to be one of the best ideas. So you have to be just a bit cautious about disposing of mistakes too readily. Possibly holding together a little bit there. Yeah. So it's developing more interest now in the whole structure of the painting in this area, and it starts to be attractive to me in terms of getting on and painting, because I'm beginning to be able to see into the painting ideas that I didn't actually envisage in the first place. So when that happens, I always start to feel rather more excited about the whole business, and yeah, so there we go.